Have you ever stood at the edge of despair, wondering if life had anything left to offer you? Imagine being so broken that even taking one more step feels impossible, and then finding a bridge, not just any bridge, but one that changes everything. This is the story of a boy, a bridge, and the hope that saved him. The sun was setting over a small village nestled between two hills, its golden light casting long shadows across the river that split the land in half. On one side, there was laughter, families, and life. On the other, silence, emptiness, and a boy named Ian who carried the kind of sadness most people never see. Ian was only 16, but his eyes looked much older. He had lost his father years ago, and his mother, worn down by endless struggle, could barely keep food on the table. School felt like a luxury he could not afford, and dreams seemed like stories written for other people, not for him. Every day, Ian walked along the riverbank, staring at the bridge that connected his side of the village to the other. It was an old wooden bridge, weathered by time and storms, but still standing firm. For most people, it was just a path to cross the river. But for Ian, it was something else entirely. It was a line between who he was and who he might become. One evening after another, long day of disappointment, Ian sat by the bridge with his head buried in his knees. The river roared beneath him, almost as if it wanted to pull him in. He whispered to himself, "Maybe it would be easier if I just disappeared." The thought scared him, but it also tempted him. Life had been cruel, and he felt powerless to change it. Just as his mind grew darker, an old man appeared on the bridge, walking slowly with the help of a wooden stick. His clothes were simple, his beard long and silver, and his eyes carried the kind of calm that only comes from living through many storms. The old man paused when he saw Ian. He leaned on his stick and asked gently, "Son, why do you sit here with such heavy eyes?" Ian didn't want to answer, but something about the man's voice felt safe, so he spoke. He poured out everything: his father's death, his mother's struggles, his hopelessness, his fear that he would never be more than a poor boy in a forgotten village. The old man listened silently, not once interrupting. When Ian finished, his voice breaking, the man looked at the bridge beneath their feet and said, "This bridge has carried thousands of people across this river. Some walked across with joy, others with fear. Some carried burdens so heavy they thought they would collapse, but every single one of them kept moving forward. Do you know why?" Ian shook his head. The old man smiled softly and said, "Because the bridge never asked them who they were. It didn't care if they were rich or poor, strong or weak, happy or broken. It only asked them to take one step, and then another, and another, until finally they reached the other side." Ian stared at the man, not fully understanding. The old man's smile deepened. "Life is the same, my boy. You don't need to fix everything at once. You don't need to see the whole path ahead. All you need is to take the next step. One step of courage, one step of faith. That's how hope is built, step by step, across the bridge of life." Then, as quietly as he had arrived, the old man continued walking, disappearing into the glow of the evening sun. That night, Ian could not sleep. The man's words echoed in his mind: one step of courage, one step of faith. The next morning, instead of lying in bed with despair, he took a step. He walked to the marketplace and offered to help vendors carry their goods. The pay was small, but it was something. The next day, he took another step. He went back to school in the evenings, using the few coins he had earned to buy second-hand books. His classmates laughed at his worn-out clothes, but he ignored them. Day by day, step by step, Ion crossed his invisible bridge. Some days were harder than others. There were moments he wanted to turn back, to give up, but he remembered the old man's voice, steady and kind, reminding him that the bridge did not care who he was, it only cared that he kept moving. Years passed. The boy who once sat by the river, ready to give up, was no longer the same. Ion grew into a young man with knowledge, skills, and a quiet strength that inspired others. He became a teacher, helping children who had once felt as hopeless as he did. And every time he walked across the real wooden bridge in his village, he smiled because he knew it was more than wood and rope. It was a symbol of the journey he had taken inside himself. One evening, as the sun set, just like it had years ago, Ion stood on that same bridge. He looked at the river below, remembering the night he almost let it swallow him. He thought of the old man, whose name he never learned, whose words had saved his life, and he whispered, "Thank you. You gave me hope when I had none." The wind carried his words across the water, and for the first time, Ion realized something important. The bridge had not just helped him cross the river, had taught him how to cross despair, fear, and hopelessness. It had taught him that life doesn't change all at once. It changes one step at a time, and that is the bridge of hope. Maybe you, too, are standing on the edge of despair right now. Maybe life feels too heavy, the path too long, the river too wide. But remember this, you don't need to see the entire journey. You just need to take the next step. One small act of courage, one moment of faith. That is how hope begins. Because no matter how broken you feel, the bridge is waiting for you. Step onto it, keep moving, and you will reach the other side. If this story touched your heart, don't let it end here. Share it with someone who might need hope today. Leave a comment below and tell me what bridge are you crossing in your life right now. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, because we share stories that remind you that no matter how dark the night, there's always a sunrise waiting. Hope is real. It's closer than you think. All it takes is the courage to take that first step.